Homebrew Hero here today. We are going to have a good time today. We are making a triple. If you're not familiar with triples, they're famous in Belgium. It's what a lot of the monks like to make. They get the name triple because the monks would use 3 times more malt than they normally would use on their grain bill. So it makes it a little bit more alcoholic. Somewhere in between 8 to 10% is typical for a triple. As far as color, usually light yellow to golden color is typical for a triple. They can be very spicy from spices that are added, or an estery from the yeast that we're going to use. Yeah, so the triple is my favorite beer. I think it is absolutely delicious. We're going to have a lot of head on this baby. It's going to be amazing. Let me show you what we're working with here. To start off, this big bag here, that's 11 pounds of Pilsner. We're using German Pilsner. If you want to be more authentic, use the Belgian. I don't know whether there's any kind of taste difference or not, but that's up to you. It costs more though if you use the Belgian. We got a pound of Munich here. It's the darker Munich. It's in between 10 and 13, but it's not gonna make this beer too dark. It's just gonna give it a little more of just a slight orange color. And then we got 2 pounds of Carapils. This is what's going to give us our head retention. I'm hoping we're going to get a lot of head on this baby. That's what she said. To bring up our alcohol level, we're going to use 1.5 pounds of table sugar. Once again, if you want to be more authentic, then you'll want to get the candy sugar that the Belgian monks use. You can get that from your brew supply store. It's just a little bit more expensive. This kind of sugar's cheap. You do not want to go over 30% or you're going to get a cidery taste that you don't want. Then we're going to use half a pound of brown sugar just to give us a little bit of flavor, a little bit of color. Probably add that closer to the end of our boil, but as far as the sugar, we'll just throw that in at any time. It doesn't matter. As far as for our spice we're using, we got this coriander seed. Going to throw that in at 5 minutes. Don't forget to crush it. For our bittering hops, we're using these Styrian, I don't really know how to say it, Styrian Goldings. It's a seedless version of the Fuggles, and it's used for bittering, used for aroma. Also for our bittering at 60 minutes, we're going to use this Saaz. This Saaz is really low in alpha, so you may want to adjust your hop schedule depending on how much alpha acids are in there. I'm going to add this at the same time at 60 minutes for bittering, but depending on your alpha level, you may not want to do that. And then we're going to add another ounce of this Saaz at 45 minutes. I think typical Saaz is usually closer to like 4% alpha, so these are really low. So I did have to mess around with my recipe a little bit to get the bittering balanced. This is my newest Weizenbock, a little darker than I wanted it to turn out. So if you want to learn how to make that one, click on the link below. That'll teach you how to make that one. You may want to take it easy on the chocolate malt, use a little less than what I did if you want a lighter color, but basically this one tastes like, you get that typical banana flavor that you get from a Hefeweizen, and then get some from the chocolate malt, you get a little bit of that chocolate flavor, real delicious. Alright, we're ready to get our strike water ready. We are going to need 1 quart or 32 ounces for every pound of grain we have. So we got 14 pounds, so we need 14 of these in there. And then we're going to heat that up to 170 degrees, 171, somewhere around there. Okay, so we're heating up our strike water here. Our target temperature we're aiming for is about 170, maybe slightly higher. That should get us at 154 after we add it to the grain. Okay, right at 170, right where we want to be. Let's take this lid off. Pour it in there. Strap this lid on just for a minute or so, just to warm up the walls. that in. Let's mix. Get it mixed real good. Pour in the rest of our gravy. That's as good as we're going to get. Lid on there again, give it another minute or two, then we'll take a temperature, just make sure we're at where we want to be. 150. Yeah, that's like right where we want it. We're going to let this mash for about probably an hour and a half. You could wait 60 minutes, probably be safe. Now we're going to measure out our sugar and our coriander seed, and we're going to crush that while we're waiting. So I decided to do a yeast starter after all. Should have done it at least 12 to 18 hours before, but better late than never, I think. I think it'll be a good idea to get a starter going. So if you want to learn how to make a starter, click on this link here. That'll take you to my video on how to make a starter. So now I'm going to measure out my coriander seed. Got half an ounce. Here we are, got a half ounce of that. Gonna crush that here in a minute. As far as for our white sugar, gonna want 1.5 pounds, which is 24 ounces. There we go, got 24 ounces of the white sugar. For the brown sugar, I'm gonna do 8 ounces. There we go, 8 ounces brown sugar. So we got all that. We're gonna crush these. So you could use like a roller pin, something like that. I have one of these, it's a malt grainer. You just set it for how fine you want it. I already have it set to where I want it. Just gonna pour that in there. Grind it till it's all done. And this has a real strong, like, citrusy smell. It smells wonderful. Kind of flowery, kind of citrusy. Alright, so we got about 15 minutes left of our mash till that's ready to go. So we're going to start getting our sparge water ready. Just going to fill this baby all the way to the top with some hot water. Then we're going to heat that up to 170. Alright, we got our sparge water heating up to 170. Got that holds 8 gallons there. Now we are going to start our first runnings here. I'm gonna drain 2 quarts of this out. And then we're gonna pour it back on top. And then we'll start our sparge after that. Sparge water's just about to 170. And then we got 1 quart here, we're ready to pour back on top. So just gently pour it back on top there. Don't want to disturb your grain bed too much, if possible. As soon as after this quart, everything should be coming out pretty clear, and then we're going to start our sparge. Pour that back on top. Now we're going to start draining. Before we put our first bit of sparge water on there, we're just going to make sure we drain a little bit out first. Get underneath the grain bed first. Okay, we're ready for a sparge. Get that just barely above the grain bed, and then put the lid back on, let it go down a little bit, and just repeat those steps until we got 6.5 gallons. Okay, we got 6.5 gallons. We're gonna get our boil going. Ooh, that's a pretty color. Look at that, we're at a boil. We're gonna add an ounce of the Saws and an ounce of the Styrian Goldings right here. Alright, we're at 45 minutes. We're going to add that last ounce of the Saws hops. Might as well add our pound and a half of sugar while we're at it. Remember, we're adding the sugar to up the alcohol, not to add any flavor or anything. We're at 15 minutes. Going to add half a pound brown sugar. 8 ounces. Got 5 minutes left. We're going to add our Whirlflock tablet. That's for clearing up the beer. And then we're going to add our crushed coriander. Gallon paint straining bag I'm going to use to filter that out, so just make sure you filter that out in some way at some point. Alright, so 60 minutes up, and we're using our wort chiller to cool this off. Got it down to 180 right now. Got to get it down to at least 80 or so before we add our yeast. Alright, so we got our wort cooled off. Nice and splashy, get it aerated. This is just a gallon paint strainer to get out some extra gunk. It's less stuff to have to worry about when you bottle. Now we're going to get our wort thief and we're going to take a sample so we can get a rating. Yeah. Oh, that's really hot. So let's pitch our yeast now. It's only been going about 6 hours, so I haven't really seen much activity, but hey, it's a head start. Okay, so that's how you make a Belgian. You can let it sit a minimum of 4 weeks and then bottle. And it's gonna, because of the alcohol content, it's going to take another at least 2 weeks, maybe longer, for it to carbonate. So just keep that in mind. And by then it's drinkable, and you can keep some bottles off to the side, leave it for like 9 months to a year, and try it then. It'll taste pretty good by then. Or you can leave your whole fermenting bucket for 9 months to 12 months and get some even better flavors from it. I'm not patient enough to do that, but if you are, then try it.